Welcome to MyprojectBazaar.com. Here is our title: Cryptographic Solutions for Credibility and Liability Issues of Genomic Data. This is our abstract. In cloud computing, the major complication is data privacy protection that's effectively achieved by data encryption before outsourcing to the cloud service. In our progress, three major aspects of work is performed, like data user, certified medical institution, and service provider. Here the user basically registers with the primary details. Once the registration process is over, the request is passed to the medical institution for their medical reports. Medical institution automatically uploads report according to the user request. User again views the content of uploaded file. Now the service provider, for their research process request, reports to user. He or she wants to make sure that the received genomic data, that is the report, in fact belongs to the corresponding individual. Thus the security is highly important here. To achieve this, now we apply encryption decryption process using public keys and secret keys of each data user, certified medical institution, and service provider. This progress is successfully implemented by hash value verification. This is the flow of our process. Here the user basically registers with the basic details and then log in with the user ID password given while the registration process. After registration, he or she views the public key and private key created individually. Also, he or she requests for medical report to the medical institution. So thus the medical institution log in to view his or her private key and public key and uploads this Excel file medical report to user. User views the medical report content. Using this public and private key and this uploaded content, user performs encryption process and passes this data to service provider. Thus the service provider log in and search for the medical report from users for the research process and request for medical report. Here the service provider wants to know if that genomic data or that report is originally from that user. Here for this process we have generated a hash value which is used for security purpose. So here this encryption process performs encryption process is done with the help of hash value. So service provider receives this encrypted data and decrypts file using this private key and public key and saves this file format. Thus the hash value is compared. If the hash values generated is equal, this file gets saved in CSV format. This is the main home page. Here four types of divisions are there. This is the medical institution, service provider, data user login, and thus the registration. Initially user registration is performed with user details like username, password, gender, mail ID, phone number. For example, this is the username and this is the password. Here is the gender. This is email. And here we can give the phone number. So thus here validation is kept for two things like mail ID as well as mobile number. Once the mobile number is given correctly, registration is performed successfully. After registration, user can log in Once login, he or she can view the public key and secret key. Now here the while registration process is performed, user request is passed for medical report. So thus the medical institution uploads the medical report for this user request. For example, here the username and user ID 1001 has registered. Just the request is passed to medical institution for their individual medical report. In order to upload the medical report, medical institution clicks on the ID. Now here we have to click this upload button. We have to select the medical report and we have to click open. Now this report is loaded successfully. Here blood pressure, sugar and malaria, dengue, every results has been posted, so this data must be secure. He or she can also view this public and private key. Now the service provider log in and views his or her private key and public key. Next, in order to do research process, service provider needs medical report from different users. So thus searches for the medical reports. Once a search operation is performed, it is shown that here this user ID has uploaded a medical report, and now this request is passed for the medical report to the concerned user. Once the request is passed, now the user log in to see the request. Here the user login page is seen. Here you can view the content, aspect request, and hash value generation is mainly for the security purposes, and this logout operation is performed. Here it views the uploaded file content and the public key and secret key. Now this is the uploaded. So here four times the request has been passed. So thus here we have to click here or to perform encryption process before forwarding this medical report content. So now I here click this. So now when I click this, then this encrypted message is, now this encryption process is performed, and this encryption process is, after this encryption process, here the message is changed into file encrypted, and this concerned encrypted message is transferred to the concerned encrypted message is transferred to the service provider. Thus using this user private key, here we are generating a hash value. This hash value is again encrypted, and this encrypted hash value is passed to service provider for security purpose. Once both the hash value matches, the service provider decrypts this hash value, and once both the hash value matches, he or she can save the decrypted medical report content. So thus here the hash value is generated, and it is here this is the hash value, and this is the encrypted hash value. So now this encrypted hash value is forwarded to service provider. The service provider log in again to decrypt this message. He views the user ID, and here is the file content. Here is the encrypted hash value. Now he decrypts the hash value. Once it is correct, it automatically decrypts the file content. So this decryption is correct, so the file is decrypted. Now we have to click here to save this file. So here I am going to save this file as final 2. So this Excel file is saved successfully. In order to view this file in desktop, here is this Excel file. So this is the Excel file and this is the content of the file. So this is the content of the medical report and this is the final to Excel file which we have saved finally. Thus our process is over. Thank you.